climate change poses a growing threat to our planet, and one of its most dramatic consequences is the melting of polar ice. As global temperatures rise, the vast ice sheets in the Antarctica are receding at an alarming rate. It has a ripple effect that extends to the smallest and most crucial elements of the marine food chain, particularly krill. Krill depend on sea ice for their habitat. It provides them with food, shelter, and protection. Melting ice due to rising temperature affects their environment. These tiny shrimp-like creatures are a fundamental part of the Antarctic ecosystem, serving as the primary food source for some of the world's largest and most majestic inhabitants, whales. There are also multiple factors that are contributing to their population decline, and one of it is commercial whaling. Whaling practice has been around since the medieval times, but has reached its peak in the 1960s, when the rise of technology innovation in tracking of the whales and also advances in byproducts of whales. 703,000 whales were killed during the 1960s, but we have seen a decline since then. What caused this? One of them was a massive policy change in the 1980s. More and more countries were becoming members of the International Whaling Commission, or IWC.
International Whaling Commission (IWC) was established in 1946 because of decreased number of whales resulting from commercial whaling in 18th and 19th centuries. The IWC is an international organization dedicated to conservation and management of whale population, and over 88 countries have been part of the conservation. This moratorium is a long-term ban of commercial whaling meant to protect these magnificent creatures from overhunting and possible extinction. The International Whaling Commission (IWC) conservation has a specific scope related to the conservation and management of whales, which not limited to a specific geographic region. Objective 1. Conservation of whales. The IWC primary goal is to protect and restore whale population to prevent their extinction due to overexploitation, stated in Article 1. Objective 2. Regulation of whaling. The IWC oversees and controls whaling activities worldwide. It involves setting catch limit for commercial whaling, establishing protected areas for whales, and implementing measures to prevent unsustainable whaling practice, stated in Article 3. Objective 3. Addressing ocean noise. The IWC is advocating for the reduction of underwater noise from shipping, collaborating with international bodies such as UNCLOS and IMO, stated in Article 5. Objective 4. Mitigating ship strike. The IWC Conservation and Scientific Committee are actively working to understand and reduce the threat posed by ship strike, aiming for permanent reduction in such incidents, stated in Article 2. Objective 5. Tackling bycatch and entanglement. In collaboration with other organizations, government and fishing communities, the IWC seeks to develop and promote effective measures to prevent and mitigate bycatch worldwide, stated in Article 2. Objective 6. Combating pollution and derbies. The IWC is engaged in various programs to address potential threats from different types of derbies. It has endorsed a resolution on marine plastic pollution. Activities include collaboration with relevant organizations and identifying areas with circumstances are exposed to plastic derbies, stated in Article 8. Objective 7. Promoting sustainable whale watching. The IWC collaborates with intergovernmental organizations, members of governments, scientists, the whale watching industry, and non-governmental organizations. This collaboration effort aims to understand and manage the potential impact of whale watching on individual whales and whale populations, stated in Article 2. First exception is commercial whaling. Although the IWC moratorium is still in place since 1886 due to the overexploitation of whale stock, some countries such as Norway and Iceland continue to engage in commercial whaling activities, which Norway objects to the moratorium, and Iceland has a reservation to the moratorium that allows it to continue commercial whaling. Second exception is scientific research whaling. In IWC Article 8 stated that the conservation allows allows contracting government to issue special permit authorizing the taking of whale for purpose of scientific research. Examples: Japan conducted whaling for scientific research purpose and withdrew from the IWC in 2019 and resumed commercial whaling in the territorial waters. The third exception is subsistence whaling. Subsistence whaling is a special category of whaling recognized by the IWC to address the cultural and nutritional needs of indigenous communities that have historical dependence on whaling. It allows these communities to continue hunting a limited number of whales for their subsistence, cultural, and non-commercial needs. The United States is subject to domestic legal requirements and work with the indigenous community in Alaska and Washington State to ensure that the catch limit established through the commission meet their cultural and subsistence needs.
The IWC primarily focus on the large baleen whales such as humpback whales, fin whales, minke whales, and blue whales. This species has been historically targeted by commercial whaling, and the IWC works to protect and manage their population. However, it's important to note that the IWC does not cover all marine animals, as the IWC is specifically concerned with the conservation of whales, and it does not cover the regulation of fishing or the conservation of other marine life. This may include dolphins, porpoise, seals, sea lions, sea turtles, fish, and other marine life. There are several other conventions and commissions cover marine animals and ecosystems that are not covered by the International Whaling Commission (IWC), which includes the first one is Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, or CITES. CITES is an international agreement that regulates the international trade of endangered and threatened species, including many marine animals such as sea turtles, certain coral, and seahorse. The second one is the Convention on Migratory Species, or CMS. The CMS, also known as the Bonn Convention, focuses on the conservation of migratory species, including various marine mammals and sea turtles. It promotes international cooperation to protect these species along their migration routes. The third one is Regional Fisheries Management Organizations, or RFMOs. These are international bodies that manage fisheries in specific ocean regions. They often have measures in place to protect non-target species, including marine mammals and seabirds, from bycatch and incidental capture. Examples include International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas, or ICCAT, and the Northwest Atlantic Fisheries Organization, or NAFO. The fourth one is Marine Protected Area Network. Many countries and regions establish Marine Protected Areas, MPAs, to safeguard marine ecosystem and species. These MPAs can be created through national and regional agreements, and they may cover a range of marine animals and habitats. Last but not least is the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas, or UNCLOS. UNCLOS sets the framework for the conservation and sustainable management of marine resources, including living marine resources like fish and other species. It also addresses the protection of the marine environment. The first provision for the Marine Protected Area is Southern Ocean Whale Sanctuary. One of the most significant MPA-related initiatives within the IWC is the establishment of the Southern Ocean Whale Sanctuary. This sanctuary was established to provide protection for whales in the Southern Ocean, and it covers a large area surrounding Antarctica. Whaling is prohibited within this sanctuary, providing a refuge for various whale species. The second one is discussion and collaboration. The IWC provides a platform for member countries to discuss and collaborate on issues related to the establishment and management of marine protected areas for cetaceans. Member countries can propose the creation of new sanctuary or the extension of existing one. The third one is ecosystem-based management. The IWC recognizes the importance of ecosystem-based management and the need to consider the broader marine ecosystem when addressing the conservation of whales. This approach may involve discussion about protecting the habitats and prey of cetaceans, not just the cetaceans themselves. The fourth one is scientific research. The IWC promotes and supports scientific research on cetaceans and their habitats. Research on the status and distribution of whale, as well as the ecological role they play in marine ecosystems, is crucial for making informed decisions about marine protected areas. These are the obligations of the International Whaling Commission. The first one is abiding by whaling moratorium. One of the key obligations of IWC member countries is to adhere the Global Whaling Moratorium, which was established in 1986. This moratorium prohibits commercial whaling in order to allow whale population to recover. Member countries are expected to refrain from commercial whaling and to ensure that their national and vessels do not engage in commercial whaling activities. The second one is setting quotas. Member countries participate in discussion and negotiations to set quotas for Aboriginal subsistence whaling, or ASW, for indigenous communities and for scientific research purpose. These quotas are established with the aim of ensuring that whaling activities are sustainable and does not threaten the overall health of whale population. The third one is cooperating in scientific research. Member countries are encouraged to engage in and contribute to scientific research related to whales. This research is essential for understanding the status of whale populations, their conservation needs, and their overall health. The fourth one is reporting and data sharing. Member countries are obligated to provide data and information about their whaling activities and the status of whale population in their respective regions. This information is critical for assessing the impact of whaling on whale populations and for making informed management decisions. The fifth one is participating in meetings and decision making. Member countries are expected to participate in IWC meetings, discussion and decision making process. This includes participating in the annual meetings where key decisions about whaling quotas, conservation measures, and other matters are made. The sixth one are conservation and management measures. Member countries are responsible for supporting and implementing conservation and management measures to protect and preserve whale populations. This measure may include the establishment of whale sanctuaries and marine protected areas. Last but not least is abiding by the rules and agreements. Member countries are expected to abide by the rules and agreement of the IWC, which includes the International Convention for the Regulation of Whaling and its amendments.
The 1946 International Convention for the Regulation of Whaling sets several key principles. First is safeguarding resources. It emphasizes preserving natural resources for future generations, particularly in the preamble and introduction. It aims to address historical overfishing and protect all whale species. Then, we have sustainable management. The convention promotes sustainable practices, striving for whale population growth, restricting whaling to sustainable species, and achieving optimal whale stocks without economic or nutritional harm. To Article 3, we have international collaboration. It establishes the International Whaling Commission to ensure global cooperation in whale conservation and development. Next is rule of law. Legal procedures are integral, notably in Article 3 and Article 5, governing commission establishment, schedule amendments, and also regulations. In Article 7, it encourages reporting and transparency, obliging contracting governments to share vital information with the Commission. After that, in Article 8, introduces special permits for scientific research, emphasizing the importance of sharing scientific data for evidence-based decision-making. Finally, enforcement and accountability, in which in Article 9 outlines measures for punishing violations, underscoring the importance of responsibility and fairness. To summarize, this convention sets a framework for responsible whaling and conservation efforts. Although it doesn't explicitly outline how to ensure a compliance or report mechanisms, it introduces an important amendment in Article 2, defining whale catchers, which enhances oversight of whaling activities by regulating data collection on helicopter and aircraft use, ensuring rule compliance and strengthening enforcement.
Despite the international moratorium on commercial whaling, there's a loophole within the International Whaling Commission Convention that enable countries to continue this practice. According to IWC regulations, member countries can object to an IWC decision within the 19 days, exempting themselves from it. Norway objected to the moratorium in 1982 and is not bound by it, allowing country to hunt minke whales in the North Atlantic. Iceland withdrew from the IWC in 1992 but re-entered in 2003 with a reservation to the moratorium, resuming commercial whaling in 2006. Japan exploits a loophole in the IWC convention by conducting commercial whaling in the Antarctic and North Pacific under the guise of scientific research. This practice began in the Antarctic in 1987 and in the North Pacific in 1996. Despite IWC's objections, Japan can set its own quotas due to IWC rules, and the meat from this research whaling is packaged and sold in the market. Commercial whaling can be stopped, and you can easily get involved without having to head to the sea. Here are some ways to stop the cruel practice of whaling. First, educating and raising awareness. In order to address global issues like climate change or even whaling, public awareness is essential. Awareness raises alertness, which leads to action. Once the individual has understood the gist of the issue, they can then evaluate what changes to their normal routine would be environmentally friendly. Because from knowing comes caring, and from caring comes change. Second, donation. Furthermore, donation money to organizations like Greenpeace is an indirect way of helping the fight against commercial whale hunting. These profit organizations work to create sanctuaries around the world where whales can be protected. Greenpeace activists are known for disrupting whale ships during their hunting operations. They often block off vessels and get in the way of their harpoons, therefore allowing whales to escape. Scan QR code to find and know more about the organization, but it would be a bonus if you can donate too. Lastly, simply signing a petition can apply political pressure in a way to influence the decision makers. Small effort can still lead to a big change. So what are you waiting for? Sign the petition now and stop whaling forever. You can get the petition link on our Padlet by simply scanning the QR code, and the whale will thank you. In conclusion, the demand for whale meat has largely vanished, and yet whales continue to be targeted by commercial industries based in Iceland, Norway, and Japan. It's easy to think about the fate of an individual species, but it's the beginning of an ecological collapse of the entire ecosystems. It's more than just the species, the genus, the family, the order. We are talking about the possibility that entire classes of organisms will go extinct. So ask ourselves, are whales really that important to us? Do we really need whales, or we can just sort of live in the ashes of it?
Ni apa ni? Paling kau pekangkang lah kaki mana?
Anu ya, because kalau saya baca
Patah. Oh. No. Woi, woi.
Bye-bye!